Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to be doing, I'm not actually sure what I'm going to call this, I don't know what the title is going to be, but basically we're going to follow the situation, the scenario between the Packers and the Jets post Aaron Rodgers trade. I, of course, have done a Jets and Packers rebuild of the whole Rodgers thing before it was official. The Packers one is a lot more accurate, the very, very, very close comp that I got compared to what actually happened. But the Jets one was a bit off. I don't think I got enough for Rodgers compared to what the Jets gave. So we're going to kind of just tie loose ends off for both of those rebuilds and just follow this scenario and just see what happens. See who, the Jets and the Packers draft, kind of like a pre-mock, if you will, of like what happens, for the NFL and whatnot. But yeah, let's, I suppose, get into this, talk a little bit about Rodgers as well, because, I am a Packers fan, and it's not, it's weird, because, when Jordy Nelson left, it was like, I felt like it was time, and that's the same way I feel with Rodgers. After last season, the way it went down, especially the way he played against Detroit, I don't know, it just seemed like it was time. I'm honestly surprised Green Bay got as much as they did for Rodgers. I have another video coming out a little bit later, which is a speed rebuild of the Jets, and I kind of talk a little bit about the Richard Sherman rant, where he's talking about how the Packers disrespected him on the way out and all this, and didn't respect what they had and all that. I don't think he understands how literally close Rodgers was to retirement. I think if Brady stuck it out one more year, Rodgers may have retired. So with the idea that Rodgers likely retires next season, if that happens, unless the Jets win the Super Bowl, the Packers automatically are they win the trade by a mile, right? Because at the end of the day, it's either get nothing, pay a ton, and not even see what love looks like, or it's doing what they did, They kind of got bailed out by the Jets. If I'm not mistaken, on top of all the comp, the Jets ate the near $60 million guarantees, which, if that is actually true, if I read it correctly, which I'm pretty damn sure I did, that's insane. That alone is probably worth just trading them off for a 4th-round pick, let alone getting all of what they got back. So, at the end of the day, hoping for the best for the Jets and him, but I think Green Bay absolutely made the right decision. I don't see how there's any other opinion other than that for how this went down. I really don't. But obviously, it's going to suck as a Packers fan to see him go. Obviously, some great memories over the years of, him versus, even though they lost that game, him versus the Cardinals, him versus Kurt Warner. That was a hell of a game, one of the best games I've ever seen. It was freaking fun to watch. Obviously, the Super Bowl, where he just absolutely crushed it against pretty much the league's best defense. Just a bunch of different insane throws. I know people think of the Lions Hail Mary throw, which is cool, and I like watching it. But I honestly think, even though they lost that game, the recent-ish Packers versus Cardinals playoff game, where they basically ended the game on 2 Hail Marys, but the first throw wasn't really even a Hail Mary. It was just a dot. Super blitz, roll out to the left, throwing kind of off balance, 50 yards down the field, right on the money to Janis, and then obviously the Hail Mary to Janis, and then as with his whole career, pretty much, the defense letting him down, right out the gate, letting Larry freaking old legend take it all the way for 70 yards, and then the touchdown on the flip inside. That's the thing. This is the big thing for Rodgers, isn't the offensive talent, because while I do agree a little bit that, the Packers have neglected him a little bit on offense lately, he has had some good offenses, right? I've seen some Jets talking about Rodgers never had talent like this. Boy, do you not understand the Jermichael Finley, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, James Jones, Donald Driver years? Do you not understand? While those years weren't the longest tenured years of all time, those teams may have been the most talented offenses ever in NFL history. Not just recently, ever. It was insanely stacked. So don't act like Rodgers never had talent, just because, once again, recency bias is crazy, which, I don't want to talk too much about this, and I kind of want to get into the actual video itself, but, the whole idea that Mahomes is the greatest passer ever, boy, he's good, and I have seen some insane things from him. Right now, if he continues on the path, I would say he's the greatest ever, but Mahomes is doing what Rodgers did for over a decade. Recency bias is crazy, but I don't think people realize Mahomes right now is literally what Rodgers was, other than the 2 Super Bowl rings, which, once again, it takes a bit of, it takes a team. It takes a little bit of luck as well. Some things have to just line up. You know, your defense has to not give up like 40 points per game in the playoffs like Rodgers usually does. So I will agree if Mahomes continues the path, he will be the greatest passer ever. But you still, I mean, you don't want anyone to get injured. But if Mahomes got injured, there was a chance. What was it like? Was it last year, year before, where he had an injury that like could have ended his career? If that does happen, you can't say he's the greatest. So the recency bias is crazy because Rodgers is literally, he was what Mahomes is now. So. What are they going to get from him with the Jets? I don't know, but we're going to find out, at least draft-wise, what happens for these two teams. And I did all of this work to make sure that the rosters are correct, both Packers and Jets, and the picks were all correct. And I almost forgot to trade for that damn first pick with the Panthers and the Bears. Oh, that would have been an L. Because obviously that can affect, or would, not even can, it would affect the hell out of the draft, which defeats the whole damn purpose. I don't know what the Jets or the Packers are going to go for early on. You assume the Jets go offensive line, kind of similar to what happened with Tampa Bay. They just shored up that offensive line in a hurry. I mean, I've never seen a team just fix their offensive line so quick. It was ridiculous. But you would assume that's the kind of route, which if that's the case, obviously, they still have just enough capital to probably do so. And I know there's so many memes about, like, watch the moment Rodgers leaves, they finally get a first-round quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, whatever. There's a good chance that happens. I think at 13, Green Bay should absolutely take wide receiver. I think, you have potential with Dobbs, and I think Green Bay obviously sees that. But there's literally no such thing as having too many wide receivers. All right, barring any EA, we should be set. Quarterback situation is good and all that. So Stroud to the Panthers and Young to the Texans. Let's get to 13 and see what happens. So guys like Lucas Van Ness are now gone. Green Bay picking at 13. A lot of the times it has been Dalton Kincaid. And I believe Will Levis is gone too. So I think there's no quarterback. So Green Bay can't, go for that position in this situation, which obviously, in real life, they wouldn't. But, if Levis is there at 13 in game, they probably would take him. Is this wide receiver? Is this tight end? Let's find out. And I got to admit, with the tight end issues, there's 68 overall starting tight end. It's probably tight end. And it is Dalton Kincaid, which I don't think I'd prefer, but I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it. I think they need to start going offense for once in the draft, especially with Jordan Love as starting quarterback right now, give him more opportunity to succeed. So as long as it is someone on offense, even if it's a lineman, I'm cool with it. I really want this pick to be offense at 13. Or a trade down, I suppose. You definitely so much talent, you might as well if you're not going to go, offense, in my opinion, if, guys like Van Ness are gone. But 15, let's see what New York does. And they do take tackle, so they get their offensive lineman. You can't be mad with it. And now this isn't going to be perfect. There might be some picks missing, especially since compensatory picks aren't in the game. But this is, in general, what the draft classes for the New York Jets and Green Bay Packers will look like. Drew Sanders at 9 in the second would be amazing. Laporta, now that's not going to happen, but that would be insane. This would be a very good draft for them. Of course, Laporta also a lot slower than, he's projected to be based on the ridiculous 40 that came out. Looking at the Packers, EA has them taking running back at 13 in the second. It's Green Bay. I wouldn't put it past them. Schmitz, fair enough, but Josh Myers, I don't think so. As far as EA goes, this is far from realism. There's no way they take running back. There's no way, unless they expect him to play guard, they take center. Very unlikely chance Hendon Hooker, especially since he's projected to be higher, at least rumors-wise. They would be there third round for us, but if he was there in the third, it wouldn't actually surprise me to see them take him. Tackle in the fourth, fair enough. Edge, who's not even actually supposed to be here, I don't believe, in the sixth. Riley Moss in the seventh. So, good thing we're more invested in the Jets side of this thing, I guess, because that was a non-good, non-realistic draft for the Green Bay Packers outside of pick 1. Well, 13, you know what I mean, first round. All right, we have the Jets starting roster set up. This is what the team looks like. Garrett Wilson, number 1. Allen Robinson at 2. Harmon at 3. Corey Davis at 4. Mims at 5. Skaronski at left tackle, number 1. The offensive line looks definitely feasible And yeah, I mean, let's take a look at the defense now. DT2, it's supposed to be like, who the hell am I even thinking of? Like Quentin Jefferson, basically the same guy. Old 72 to 74 overall player. Basically, that's all that matters. And everything else is pretty much set. Drew Sanders, I like that pick. That's a really nice pick. And then on the Packers side, I have to make Hendon Hooker a worse player because obviously Jordan Love needs to start, which I also think Jordan Love being a 67 overall is super harsh. I'm not really sure. I can see losing the dev. Not sure why his ratings would drop. He actually showed a lot of promise, especially against Philadelphia and in general in preseason. He looked better this year, yet he drops overall now that without even actually getting to play. I'm not really sure the logic behind that, but it's EA, not me, so it's their game, do whatever. And I can't remember what happened in our other, like, the Jets rebuild we did, but 9-8 for the Jets, and that's in a division where the Bills went 8-9 and the Dolphins went 1-16. This is why we play, because it is completely random. And that could be the window for the Jets right there. I mean, there's 9-8, missing the playoffs for Rodgers. Man, the Jets fan base would absolutely hate him and their ownership. But, you know, would you blame Rodgers for retiring after this? Especially after it seems like he was pretty good. 37 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 4,545 yards. Breece Hall was really bad. Hardman was the best receiver, technically, even though he's supposed to be the number 3. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of unacceptable for this team, which, I mean, kind of falls back more on EA than anyone. Look at the kicker, 20 for 22, killed it. Let's see where Rodgers ranks in this one. He would not be... Jordan Love was number 10. I forgot about the other side of that. Got to take a look at Jordan Love. Nothing really going for the Jets on the award win side, but it looks like Jordan Love was okay, right, for the Packers side. Number 4 quarterback. Kind of curious to see how far they went. I didn't look at the... I just skipped through all of the records there. Did they make the playoffs? Let's see. Did they make the playoffs? This would be an absolute win for the Packers. Did not make it, so neither the Jets or the Packers. But Green Bay getting a top 18 pick for, Rodgers. And the Jets didn't even make the playoffs in general. It's like a super win for Green Bay. I mean, that's just like the biggest win you could ever ask for. Not the Jets, the Chargers versus Washington. Take a look. Who wins? It is the Chargers winning the Super Bowl. Fair enough. Let's take a look if Rodgers is still here. He played well enough to stick around, but will he stick around? Team's still 83 overall, but it seemed like the money jumped up a bit, which means he could be gone, and he is not. He's also a higher overall than I expected. I just did a speed rebuild with the Jets, and he was at 80 overall after the season ended, so... All right, another season for this scenario, kind of following the rest of his career scenario thing. I don't know. But obviously I have everything on auto, so we are going to go to the draft, actually, and take a look at their draft, take a look at the Packers draft, and see what happens. All right, draft recap. The team was an 84 overall after all of this had happened. Their highest pick is 23 in the second, apparently. They take an 85 speed free safety, who is hidden, but... I'm not really sure what dev this could be that can make that worthwhile. Even as an X Factor, unless you move into linebacker, I'm not really sure. And obviously, not an X Factor. Then they take cornerback, 90 speed, fair enough. Slow wide receiver, left guard. Let's see if the Packers did any better. With their own pick at 9, they did not draft a generational, but he's still really good, obviously. Kind of given Rashawn Gary vibes, ironically enough, because he was pretty big, right? 270, 6'5", super athletic, though. It's a good pick. It's a good pick. Then with what's assumingly the Jets pick, a quarterback. Tommy, not going to say your last name because we're not having slip-ups around here. Strong safety, 72 overall. Cornerback, 93 speed. I mean, not a bad draft other than the quarterback, which... in Madden, maybe isn't the worst scenario because, you get to pay Jordan Love, and he's like 25 now. Normal dev still probably even after that season. But let's go on. See what happens with the Jets and the Packers. Maybe it just works out for neither team. Maybe both teams are just poverty regardless. And then while you're just letting the game go, they sign 92 overall Herbert. Nice. All right, here is the roster for potentially the final season. Rodgers is, 40 years old now, and he's a freaking 83 overall. A lot of rumors that he'll be wearing number 8 instead of 12. I don't really care enough here to really change it, but a little weird for him to go from, 12 to 8, even if it is his college number, right? It's like you've played so long in that number 12, but I don't know, maybe, my Aaron Rodgers, the Rodgers I know and love, wanted to keep number 12 for Green Bay and no one else, and just leave it there, and his new journey is number 8 for the Jets. Or he just doesn't want to be associated with the Packers anymore and just threw the number away because he's like, screw those guys. I don't know, but this is what the team looks like. Let's see if they can have a better year, actually make the playoffs this time maybe. Hey, they're in 11-6. The whole rest of the division is 7-10 though, which is kind of strange. I don't know what it is, but the Bills for me in Sim, wrong thing, usually just suck. I don't know why, but let's take a look. Did they play the Packers at all? I'm pretty sure they usually play, and they lost to them. I mean, let's be honest. Like, you ain't going to beat the Packers. Really bad finish to the season, though. They lost 5 of their last 6, and they still made it. That's crazy. Taking a look at the Packers, that looks like a playoff season off the top of my head, right? That looks like almost the exact same season we had. And just in case you think I cheated because I have some sort of agenda here, I really don't care, dude, but let's show you guys the, the things. What's the other team? Bills, Dolphins, who were 1-16 the season before. A little better, I guess, 7-10, right? But let's take a look at the season for Rodgers and company. See what happened. This team did if this wasn't, us trying to be realistic here, they did a good job in the offseason. They spent all their money on Jonathan Taylor and Justin Herbert, which in Sim is like the best you could do for yourself. Breece Hall, finally a good season, way better than last. Hardman, way worse than last. Offensive line, better than last. Sack totals, pretty much similar. Nothing great, to be honest. Kicking, new kicker after the guy went absolutely off. Okay, good decision. Awards aren't going to matter because obviously the team did not really do that well. The new quarterback, Tommy, that's his only name is Tommy, number 6. We would have obviously not won any awards. Offensive line actually. It skips over like I just spammed a little too hard, but all right, let's see. And I'm not going to go in. We're just going to skip. And if we get to the Super Bowl, obviously we'll show it, but. Playoff Blizzard didn't actually click it, but Rodgers gets the nod there, kind of. I guess in general the Jets get the nod there, and they lose to the Texans. How did they lose to the Texans? Green Bay's still in it, too. No shot, bro. No shot. We're in a situation where I didn't touch anything, and the Packers are further than the Jets are, with Rodgers still on the roster. Not his fault. Could have had a little bit more yards, but not his fault that they lost. Yikes. If the Packers win the Super Bowl in this scenario, I don't even know what to tell you. I don't think they will, but I don't know what I would tell you. And they are not in it as the Panthers or the Texans, the first and second overall pick quarterback teams, face it off against each other. And the Panthers, taking the ultimate prize, looking like geniuses with the trade up, have won the Super Bowl. Of course, the question now is, will Rodgers retire? Will he still be here? Will he play a third season for the Jets? Which, at that point, the Jets have absolutely won, right? Let's take a look. I'm not even going to look at the team. I'm going to look at this instead. Thielen's gone. A lot of freaking Vikings are gone. It doesn't say he retired. Is Rodgers still here? No way. There's no way he's still here, is he? He's only an 80. He only dropped to an 81. Bro, how? He almost, half the time I've been doing scenarios before all these trades happen, Rodgers would retire before we even got a chance to sim the first season. Damn. Okay. I see you. All right, pick 26, Stackhouse, the running back. I'm not sure why they would take running back that high. And 26, and guard. I like the pick, assuming he's in development trade, which he is, 23 years old. And at this point, the Jets picks for Green Bay would be gone, but still kind of, somewhat intertwined with them a little bit. As long as Rodgers is still here, you're obviously going to see the comparisons between how Green Bay's doing versus how the Jets are doing. That's just how it is going to be. So it's still relevant. All right, I was going to say the roster for the final, year of this kind of following the career thing, but it's not really happening. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to name this still, but the team definitely is improving, without a doubt. And the sliders aren't that high. I have them on 115-ish, so it's not like that's the reason why the team is killing it. I don't know who the hell Tate is, but he's hidden development trade. Superstar for Cunningham. That's kind of cool. Quentin is finally a superstar X-Factor, and Armstead is a great partner in crime for him. This front definitely got better with him joining. we'll see. Could this be their year? I mean, they made the playoffs, won a game. Can they win the Super Bowl? Another 9-8 season, but this one was good enough to make the post, which is all you could really ask for. I mean, Rodgers hasn't played poorly himself, per se, but the Jets definitely would like to get in the playoffs after trading what they did for him a little cleaner than they have, right? I would imagine, but, making the playoffs is making the playoffs, especially in a stacked conference. Rodgers still playing really well. Brees is playing pretty well. Garrett Wilson and company, they added Devontae Parker. Would like to see them use Hardman more. Of course, Lazard is gone for whatever reason. Don't know if that would go over well with Rodgers, to be honest. That's, the thing is, a lot of people are kind of wondering, was it ever going to happen, the Rodgers and Jets, thing? But, there's no way you sign Lazard to what you sign him to if you're not going to get Rodgers, right? I feel like they gave away leverage when they did that. There's no way Lazard's market was that high, right? There's no way. But let's go on to the divisional round, see if the team wins. They do win that first game. Rodgers has beaten Pittsburgh a few times before in big games, but not in this one. I say in big games, literally one time before. Loses, sadly. Is this the end of his career? I kind of want to take a look at his season/career stats and potential awards. He probably would have added another Pro Bowl to his career, right? I would imagine. I think we had third place that one season. Trey Lance to the Steelers. Possible. Very possible, but Kenny Pickett, he definitely looks strong near the end of the season, so I doubt that's going to happen. Najee Harris killed it. Wow. Okay. Once again, Rodgers not great, but good enough. Playoffs, not easy to play. Everyone's career stats in the playoffs in general are pretty not as good as their regular season stats, right? But before we do anything, just in case, because there's a very good chance Rodgers is gone after this season, let us take a look at the legacy. So we'll go to QB. Rodgers number 2 to Brady, which I'm surprised he's even that close. I'm not really sure how that's 6,000 points is a lot, I suppose. But when you look at the fact that Mahomes is at 18,000 only, I don't understand what's going on here. What kind of make-believe numbers are these? Yearly awards? Okay, I guess. I don't know. But there's that. Let's take a look at his career stats. 72,594 yards, just over 6,000 completions, 9,000 attempts, 581 for touchdowns, 143 for interceptions, 65% completion percentage. Definitely has taken a dip over the last half decade. Yards per game at 258.3, passer rating 104.1. Obviously, insane career passer rating for him. 7.9 yards per attempt. 93 was his longest. 636 for sacks on 281 games played. His rushing numbers 38, 65 with 37 touchdowns, 65 fumbles. My man's has been known to fumble. Let me tell you. 4.7 yards per carry, and that's pretty much it. Brees Hall has... I thought it was 42 fumbles. I was like, what? You, never fumble in Sim. The hell? But not guaranteed that he retires, I suppose. So let us continue, see if he's gone. And there's no way it's Packers versus Steelers in the Super Bowl. There's no way. And the Packers win. They won a Super Bowl without Rodgers. There's zero chance that just happened. Zero. There's absolutely no chance. How? Obviously, it's not Jordan Love anyways, but really? Really? It's a pretty weak group of receivers. I guess they got Josh Jacobs, but sure. I really think because we traded with the Packers in this one, obviously, I really think that's the reason why they did well. Every time EA tries to shaft you, they try to make you depressed. Anytime you make a trade with a team, that player always goes off. I don't know how it happens. I don't know why it happens, but it is a literal fact. I will not allow that to be refuted. Refuted. Let's take a look at retirements. 85 overall still, so I don't know if he actually is gone. Let's see. And he's still here. Wait, no, he's not. What the hell? He's literally not here. Is he in free agency? That hasn't happened yet. Let's go. I'm going to go to the next offseason and just see. He would be either on a team or in free agency. I know this happens every once in a while where the player's gone and it just doesn't register them as retired for some reason, but that would have been really cool to not see that happen, especially since it would have been cool for the thumbnail. It's wait, what do you mean? Rodgers stayed 3 seasons for him? How? Appreciate it, EA. I'm sure that would be very easily replicated. All right, let's take a look at free agency and then look at the rest of the league, see if he's around. Of course, unless he's like a 12 overall, he is not around. I will say, surprised to see Stafford here as a 38-year-old 64 overall, which kind of makes me think maybe Rodgers is still here. Obviously, the age is a little bit higher, but his overall would definitely be higher than a 64. Let's take a look if he's around town. Obviously, check by age, and the highest overall or age is 35. So, yeah, I mean, technically Rodgers is retired, I suppose. Take a look. Did he finish anywhere near the top of any of the NFL records? Probably, right? Some of them. You know, had a lot of catch-up to do, but career stats, third all-time for yards, which definitely would be passed by many other players down the line in the history of the game, I would imagine. Number 2 for touchdowns. And then obviously, none of the other stuff is going to be very gettable. But that is going to be it for the, I guess, in turn, career simulation or finishing of the career simulation of Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. I guess if he played 3 seasons, no matter how, many playoff losses they had, it would be a win for sure. I think that was the biggest risk. Isn't really like how good of a Rodgers you're going to get, but how many years you're going to get of him. Like, no matter what, you could literally get the worst Rodgers ever, and it'll still be miles better than, like, almost any Jets quarterback in history, especially recent history. So that's not really the concern. It's for the Jets, obviously, how many years are you going to get out of them, if more than one? And they're taking that risk that maybe they can make it fun and make it cozy and make it a good experience to get more than one season. I don't know what's going to happen. I think if he stayed in Green Bay, he plays one more season at most. But in a new situation, especially if it's fun, I don't know. Or they have a really good season, but they're like, if we just had one more year, one more draft, whatever, of just experience together and whatnot, and maybe we would have done something more. Maybe that'll entice them to do another season, give it one more go. But like I said, I don't know. I think both teams did all right in this trade. With Green Bay, in the circumstances they're in, with a roster that probably isn't good enough to win a Super Bowl anyways, I think they did get the nod, right? I think they did win the trade, but we'll see what happens for the Jets. Obviously, if it's Russell Wilson level trade, which I don't think it will be, the Packers severely won. But yeah, I think it was a good trade. It's a fun one, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, the NFC gets weaker, and the AFC gets stronger. We'll see. Anyways, check out the speed rebuild a little bit later today if you want, and then tomorrow I think I'll have 2 videos, Steelers, and then something draft-related probably, and then Thursday will be a special rebuild I'm kind of thinking of in my head if it works out the way I want it to. But that's about it. If you guys enjoyed, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new, follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr, second channel, PKR Plays, which the draft stuff is probably going to make it a little awkward, but the Jedi Survivor game is coming out very, very soon, so that'll be uploaded at some point, I would imagine. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys come back for next video, which should be around 5 p.m. Central Standard Time today. But until next video, see ya!